Okay guys, welcome back to the channel, and today's video let's look at the old world and some of the most astonishing pictures which is going to change your perspective on history by quite a lot. Now what we're seeing here is Iran. That's right, Iran 1955. This is people from the royalty back in the day, and look at how they're dressing, and the woman, it was so modern, so forward thinking. It was just such an advanced country, and now Iran is completely opposite. So just goes to show that the world back in the day in Iran was so different from today, and it just shows that sometimes even years pass by, a civilization could go backwards and not forward depending on who's in charge of the country. So yes guys, this is just absolutely shocking, isn't it? This guy was the so-called the good Nazi Albert Speer with Adolf Hitler at the Berghof, successfully deceiving the court about his involvement and knowledge of atrocities committed by the Reich. He would only serve 20 years in prison. He is actually also an author of the bestseller Inside the Third Reich. He also died a very wealthy man. Now, this is a very controversial topic, but it's also a very strange point in history. This is a photo of the New York City, March 1964. Now what strikes me the most is that you can see there's lots of cross symbols on the buildings on Easter weekend, showing that the country back in the day, it was, I guess, a bit more religious than right now, where now people are celebrating more their, their freedom of expression of sexuality than anything else. So this just goes to show that the world has changed so much in just a matter of, let's say, 50-60 years. The change has been astonishing. Now this, guys, is a ginormous horse. This is from 1910, and there's no more information about this particular horse, but guys, it's just gigantic. I have no idea how this horse grew so much, but it must be like a genetic disorder or something. He's basically a mutant horse, so to speak. But just imagine seeing this horse in the battlefield back in the days in the war, because of course they would breed these horses to fight in the war. They would just be absolute monsters, and as you can imagine, someone owning and having a horse like this would be very powerful back in the day. So yeah, this is just crazy, the size of this horse. Now this one is a funny one. In the 1940s, men would dress in shorts and cowboy boots, and they would serve women at a drive-thru in Texas, basically to kind of allow for women to also spend more money, because they would see these men, very muscly men, young men, serving food in the drive-thru. And yeah, I would say that marketing worked like this today, tomorrow, yesterday, and such marketing will always be successful in many shapes or forms, because people tend to associate good looks with buying more and consuming more because of the person they see in front of them. Now this one is quite a shocking one, guys. Soviet troops on skis outside of the Hermitage during the siege of Leningrad 1941 in the Second World War, and they were skiing because they had to go from one point to the other point, and skiing was the only way forward. Now of course it would be very dangerous to do that, because they could be shot straight away while they were doing their activity of skiing from point A to point B. Now this one is a traffic jam in New York City in 1920, and it just looks absolutely atrocious, guys. I mean, how on earth do you even travel in that jam? I mean, it's just insane. You have buses, you have trams here, you have buses here, you have cars, you have everything in there. This is just insanity, guys. Cannot believe what I'm seeing with my own eyes. Here we have Queen Elizabeth II in 1945 serving as a member of the Auxiliary Territorial Service, basically a mechanic during the Second World War, and she was actually practicing there quite a lot, serving during the Second World War before she formally became a queen after the war ended a few years later. But yeah, this is one of those unique photos which you see, and it's quite astonishing, because seeing a member of royalty actually working as a mechanic, that is extremely rare, seriously, guys. And finally, with the last picture, guys, this is David Cislagi, the Italian inventor of a version of the mono wheel, testing it in 1933. He made one of many that had to go on in inventing these in the past, and as you can see here from the photo, it looks pretty damn awesome. I mean, it's a construction which looks quite modern back in the day. It didn't caught up because it was quite annoying to have that wheel in front of you, because it would just damage your vision, so to speak. Nonetheless, it was a very interesting creation back in the 30s, just before the Second World War started. So guys, that's it for today's video. As always, I shall see you later in the next one.